So there you are again in the middle of the night, just lying there awake. The supplements aren't working, the counting isn't working, the breathing, the lying there, telling yourself just to relax. It's not working. And here's why. Most of what people do when they wake up in the middle of the night is actually the opposite of what the nervous system needs to rest. You are trying to force your body back into sleep while it's actively trying to get your attention. That never works. It just makes the waking louder, burying that thing deeper. What actually works is a different sequence entirely. It's not purely relaxation techniques or sleep hygiene tips. It's about truly supporting our nervous systems at its root. I'm going to walk you through all 5 steps of this. By the way, I'm Daniel. I've been a sleep coach for the past 8 years after my own 10-year debilitating journey with sleep where I spent over $180,000 trying to resolve my sleep. So what I'm sharing today comes from a deep experience working with sleep and having gone through it myself. Before I get into the resets, I want to explain something because it changes how you use what I'm about to share. When you wake up in the middle of the night, your nervous system is in some state of activation. It could be mild, or it could be a full-blown anxiety, right? But something pulled you out of sleep, and that something is not random. Most people's instinct is to immediately try to get back to sleep, push that wakefulness away, override it. And I understand that instinct. I did it myself. You're tired. You have work tomorrow. The last thing you want to do is actually deal with anything at 3 a.m. But here's the thing. What you resist persists. And I know that line is cheesy, but what you ignore doesn't disappear. It just goes back underground, simmers, waits for the next quiet moment to surface. It's not like it went away, which is usually then the next night. Same time, same ceiling, same frustration. The resets I'm about to give you follow a very specific sequence for a reason. The first ones are about meeting what's here. The later ones are about soothing it, and that order matters. You cannot soothe something you haven't acknowledged. Trying to is like putting a bandage over a wound that hasn't been cleaned. It might hold for a night, but it's not healing anything, and instead it will fester. So we start by meeting, then we move it, then we bring the body back down to a new level of healing. That's the sequence, so let's go through it. All right, reset number 1 is one of the most important on the list, and it sounds almost too simple, but get this wrong and really nothing else works. Stop fighting the fact that you're awake. The moment you wake up and think, I shouldn't be awake right now, something is wrong, I need to fix this, the body reads that as a threat signal. The adrenaline starts moving, cortisol ticks up, and now you're even more awake than you were 30 seconds ago. You created that with this resistance alone, the battle that's being created. So the first reset is a mental one. Instead of bracing against the wakefulness, forcing it, try meeting it with something honest. It's okay that I'm awake. I'm safe. I can rest even if I'm not sleeping. And that's it. Nothing elaborate. Just removing the threat signal your own brain was creating. This doesn't immediately knock you back out. And the practice itself takes time to really let that land. That's not the point. The point is that you stop actively making things worse. You are having a new relationship with it. And you open the door for everything else to work. And one other thing I want to name here is checking the clock, and this is an example of this, is almost always a mistake. Because the second you see a time, your analytical brain switches on, right? Now you're calculating, now you're assessing whether the situation is bad enough to worry about. Turn your clock away before you go to bed. Knowing what time it is does not help you sleep. It gives you more ammunition for your mind to use. So once we begin to stop the fighting, or at least starting to lessen it, the next move is to get out of your head and into your body. When you wake up at night, your brain does what brains do. It spins, it plans, it worries, it tries to solve things. And the more attention you give those thoughts, the louder they get. And it's a loop. And lying there engaging with it just keeps it running. So instead of following the thoughts, bring your attention to your physical body. Taking a break from this. So we start from the head, we move slowly downwards to the jaw, the neck, your shoulders, your chest. Moving into your belly, your low back, maybe out through and follow the hands, go all the way down through the legs. So take your time. It's just a body scan. We're just checking in with the body, take a minute or two to do so. And it's like a meditation because you're not trying to fix anything. You're not trying to force relaxation. You're not trying to command anything. You're just noticing. Is there tension here? Tightness. What does this part of my body actually feel like right now? This works because you genuinely can't be fully in your thoughts and fully in your physical body at the same time. The scan interrupts that mental loop by giving attention somewhere else to land. And most people feel a noticeable shift before they've even reached their feet. Not sleep. That's not the intention at the moment. It's just loosening, a little more space, and stay with that. So these first two resets are about stopping the spiral, right? Coming back into the body. This next one is where most people check out, and it's an important one in this sequence. So the reset most people want to skip. Once you've done the body scan, if you notice something sitting in your chest or your belly, a low hum of anxiety, a tightness you can't quite name, a feeling that something is off, don't try to think your way out of it. Get curious about it. Ask yourself quietly, what am I actually carrying right now? What is here that hasn't had space during the day? I want you to think about a young child waking up in the middle of the night, upset, scared, crying. What do? You don't ignore it. You don't tell it to stop feeling whatever it's feeling and go back to sleep. You go to it, you sit with it. You let it know that you're there and that it's safe. And when that allows something in the child to settle, because it felt heard, it felt seen, because what was scary finally got met with presence instead of dismissal. Your nervous system works exactly the same way. Our emotions work the same way. The emotion that surfaces at 3 a.m. is not there to ruin sleep. It's there because it didn't get space during the day or previously in your life, so it's knocking at the door when the conscious mind is shut off. And the more you ignore the knocking, the louder it gets. When you turn toward it instead, something shifts. Your body gets a message it's been waiting for, that you're listening, that it doesn't have to keep screaming to be heard. You don't have to fix anything. You don't have to solve it at 3 a.m. You just have to acknowledge that it's there. And that's enough to start releasing it. Now, if you find yourself with bigger emotions that you can just breathe through or be with, this is a beautiful time to bust the journal out, dust it off. And I know it's the last thing you want to do at 3 a.m. It's almost counterintuitive, but give this a try. I want you for 5 minutes to begin writing whatever is actually there. No editing, no structure, no trying to figure anything out. Just putting what's on your chest onto the page. It can be more powerful than an hour of laying there trying to think your way into calm. So why does this work? When emotions stay inside our body with nowhere to go, it keeps cycling. The rumination, the overthinking. Your brain keeps returning to it, processing and reprocessing the same feelings because it hasn't found a way to move through it. Writing gives it somewhere to land outside of you, and the nervous system registers that as a release. You're not journaling to find answers. You're journaling to move the energy, to let it out of your body and onto a page where it doesn't have to keep knocking. And keep the notebook by your nightstand. Keep the light dim. Write whatever comes. Don't judge it. And when you feel that slight loosening in your chest, that's the nervous system telling you it got what it needed. Then you can move into the last reset. So these first 4 steps are all about meeting and moving what's there. Now the wound has been cleaned, so now we can bring in the soothing. So this is the step that most people start with. And when you use it here, after everything else, it actually has the ability to land. Extended exhale breathing. It's the fastest physiological tool we have for calming our nervous system. When your exhale is longer than your inhale, you directly activate that parasympathetic nervous system, the rest and digest state. You're literally pressing the brakes on that stress response with your own breath. So I want you to inhale for 4 counts and exhale for 6 to 8 counts. That's it. Nothing complicated. Just some combination where you know you're extending longer than your inhales. And as you breathe, you can pair it with something honest, not a forced affirmation, not something that feels fake or hollow at 3 a.m. Your nervous system is too smart for that. It won't believe something that doesn't feel true. Find words that actually land for you. Something like, I don't need to fix anything right now. My body knows how to rest. I am safe. I can let go. Say it on an exhale. Let it move through you rather than just across the mind. And do this for 2 to 3 minutes. Most people will feel a real shift. Not just mentally, not just physically, but a softening of our whole system. A heaviness to the limbs, and the body starts to release. This is calm. And that's the window. That's when sleep starts to come back in. So one really important thing before we close. If you've moved through all 5 of these steps and the anxiety is still building, you can get out of bed. Not to just start your day, just up. No bright lights, no phones, something quiet. Journal a little stretching, a few pages of a real book. Something that doesn't fire up your problem-solving brain. You're not giving up on sleep. You're removing that pressure. And that release of that grip is very often exactly what allows sleep to return on its own. Because the moment your bed stops being a place of pressure and frustration, your nervous system stops bracing every time you're in it. The goal is that your bed becomes a place of safety again. And every night that you spend lying there, white knuckling it to try to sleep, it's a night that teaches your body the opposite. So you can get up, process, reset, come back when you feel ready, and trust that your body knows how to do this when it stops getting in its own way. These 5 resets work, but I want to be really honest with you about something. If you're waking up every single night, and if it's been going on for months or years, the reset is a tool. Good ones, but they are not the full answer. The full answer is building a nervous system that isn't so dysregulated during the day that it has to unload everything at 3 a.m. And it's the work that actually ends the cycle rather than just managing it night by night. And that's what I do in my sleep support program and community. Root cause work, the nervous system work, the stuff that actually changes long term. The link's in the description, and it's just $8 a month. You have access to over 20 courses, weekly calls directly with me, and a community of people who are healing alongside you. You don't have to keep managing this alone. There is support and help here. Thanks for watching, and until I see you in the next one, rest well.